The latest Conqueror hull, the NYX, is out in Battle Pirates, and today I want to go through the build for the ship, which has a pretty crazy Berserk stat. Hey everyone, Derpy here, and welcome back to another Battle Pirates video. I'm going to go over the stats of this hull, talk about the build stock and how you can best support videos like this one, and then go through the step-by-step how to build this thing, including a few weird specials which you probably did not think of that are dependent on the Berserk mode. First of all, this hull has 325 million armor points. This will be important as we come back a little bit later. It has some concussive damage and negative building damage. This building damage stat is dependent on your Conquest Yard upgrade level. I did post in TFC just a picture, that's a Facebook group, a picture of the TLC that's out there right now, which gives you an upgraded Conquest Yard just for completing this one. So make sure you do that to get the most use out of your Conqueror hulls. The defenses, which are relevant to the first thing we'll go through, the armor, are generally very high for ballistic and explosive, very low for radioactive, and medium for the other ones except for corrosive, which is also generally low. We did just get a penetrative turret, so I'll discuss that a little bit in terms of the armor. Turret defense and splash damage reduction don't really give the 80% and 70% that they claim to do, and there's a 50% field resistance, which we'll get into with the armor choices as well. The interesting thing comes out with the Berserk stat, where every 100 million armor points, and remember this has 325, so you get 3 Berserks pretty easily without needing to add armor and stuff to go over that last third mark, you're invincible for 8 seconds, which means it's like the Howler except better. You can go around and do damage to everything you want to, kill as much stuff as you want to without getting damaged at all, which is pretty powerful and changes maybe into using more offense and less defense if you get protected automatically. Before I go into the build, I do want to tell you that builds for ships like this one are posted in the DerpyTheCow build stock. I sometimes slack a little bit on updating these ones, but a quick comment usually gets me up to speed pretty quickly. If you like the content I post on this YouTube channel and the build stock, which is 100% free, by the way, accessed in the description, you can become a channel member with a link right below the video, and that basically is a thank you. If the work I do every month for you is worth $2, that's what I would humbly ask of your time there. Let's go ahead and get back to the video. Now, in terms of the armor, which is the first component that you want to put on here, you want to put on what the enemy bases are using. Right now, that's probably missiles, but you don't necessarily have to go for 2 of the same armor. You could go for 2 missiles and 1 corrosive if the next thing that comes out is a corrosive armor. And the other thing you could do, so I think that a M14 plate is a pretty good bet. In fact, 2 M14 plates are a pretty good bet. The other thing you could do if some of the tactical fields and such in the game are a little bit too disruptive for your ship is jump over to the blueprint and throw on the... Actually, it's a limited special. It's a tactical field resist armor, and it's green. You probably have a lot of these from lower tiers, but you could use, if I can actually remember where this guy lives, I guess it is a tactical field resist armor. Yeah, this one right here gives you a plus 50% tac field resistance, bringing your ship up to 75% if you consult the defenses right here. I guess those don't stack, so it's just 50%. In other words, the enemy tactical fields are less effective, which could be something useful if you are struggling against those. It's also worth checking the comment section on this one. It's possible that I have misinterpreted this one, but I believe this armor would be helpful. For that reason, the build codes and stuff I'm going to show you are going to have the M14 plate rather than the tac field one in there. Also, the search bar doesn't work for typing in M14 to find the armor that is M14 in the name, but that's a little bit of a different story. Okay, going over the weapons now, you're going to want to use the Gatling gun that came out with the ship, and that's called the Nighthammer Gatling gun. No real choices for those ones. You can't put countermeasures in the slot, so it doesn't really matter. There is currently 1 heavy weapon choice. I would not be surprised at all if the U1 came out with 2 heavy weapons that we could pick between, one having higher range and lower damage, and the other having lower range but higher damage. In general, the higher damage, lower range one would be my pick. pick without having seen the stats at all. Now, the interesting thing about these weapons is there is a windup and a decay time, which is 3-3 for the standard blueprint weapon, and 8-3 for the Gatling gun, which means that, and you actually can't see that, so I'll go ahead and pull this up, which means that you have to fire for 8 seconds before this thing continues to do its maximum damage. For that reason, it is important that you try and continue to fire for 8 seconds before you go into that crazy defense mode, because you want your crazy defense mode to be doing as much damage to as much stuff as possible. So that's just kind of an interesting stat there if you hadn't seen the windup beforehand. Now, the specials are probably the most complicated part, and what I'm going to do is start out with your standard engine. You want to use the Vanquish engine concussive version because you're boosting the concussive damage. There's a few other choices, but this one is by far the best. The next two are going to be pretty standard. They are ones that are on almost every PvP hold in these days. I guess Conqueror holes, that's Invasion Scanner 4. If you don't have it, try and get 3. I would not be surprised if we have a 5 come out in the next year to be tier 14, matching the ships. And we also want to use the Conquest Battery 4. If you don't have this one, it's generally available in Strikes and stuff like that. If not, it should be in Vengeance and stuff like that. Now, the last 3 are going to be a little bit more ship dependent, and they're all going to effectively increase the damage your ships do rather than the defense. Again, that's because the Berserk stat gives you a crazy amount of just pure protected defense. You can do unlimited damage to things during that time, and you should take the most advantage of that. So for those, you're going to want to use a concussive damage and reload special. The Exemplar belt loader is the Zip Drive X, Zip Drive Y, but for Conqueror Defender only. It has much better stats than those ones, and it's fantastic. This does bring your reload time down pretty low. Note that the minimum reload time on the standard weapon is 0.2, but the heavy is 0.4, so just consider that one. You might not be getting full benefit for the heavy if you continue to throw on lots of extra reload, even though I guess its base is 7, so it's pretty high. Now, for the last two, you could kind of go something that is defense-based. I think that the best options are going to actually be Splash. You want to do more damage, and if you look for concussive damage specials, there actually aren't that many. There's maybe some upgrades and stuff like that. You can use the kind of trick, I guess, one trick pony special, or thing that is it works on all the ships. This is a slight boost to everything. Projectile speed and penetrative damage. I guess concussive damage doesn't really matter too much. I wouldn't use that one. I wouldn't really play around with ranges at this point unless you know for sure that enemy defender holes have a specific range. You could use the Force special. What I think will instead be useful is going for Splash, because you want to really boost the effectiveness of your weapons. Now, most people are showing a build with the Hellbrink warheads. This has 100, -15, 175, and 160, whereas actually an older special, which it was based on, Desolation warheads, has the same stats, 100, -15, 175, but a lower plus 85% explosive damage. Being that this hull is a concussive ship and not an explosive ship, there's no reason to use the one that has explosive damage that is higher, because the stats that matter are the same. And actually, if you look at the build time, Desolation Warheads is a 12-day, 17-hour, whereas the Hellbrink goes up to 13 days. So by watching this video, you just saved yourself 5 hours worth of build time if you use an older special. So hey, hope that 5 hours, hope you can do something useful with that, other than hit my base. Anyway, the last special slot is going to be another splash boosting special. Looking at the standard options on the blueprint tab, you could do something like plus 45% from cannon system, which is not bad, and the weapon weight doesn't go over. But if you have it, the mortar system, which is available in limited, GT3, has a plus 50%, which is better than a plus 45, so you should use this one if you have it. And don't worry about the splash coming up on the Hyper 30, that's splash damage reduction. Okay, so there's the build for the NYX. The only changes I would really consider is the armor, of which I would consider tactical field resistance if it will work effectively against enemy ships. To be honest with you, I probably should have done the research on that before posting this video, but check the comment section and we'll see if it works. And if you want to get the share code, remember you can access the build stock 100% for free, but brought to you by channel members by clicking the share button down here and using Control-V, Control-C, stuff like that, to copy and paste the hash codes in that document and load them into your shipyard. I hope this video has been helpful. If it has, go ahead and let me know in the comment section down below. I want to give a huge shout out to the channel members who are making videos like this one, which is, a multiple ones coming out this week, possible. And until next time, this is Derpy signing out, helping you be a better pirate.